Hello, everybody, and welcome back to CLCI Live. I am your host today, Anthony, joined by Samuel Gozo, one of our facilitators, and Mike James as well, our other facilitator. Now,
Hello, hello.
if you guys want to introduce yourselves really briefly, explain who you guys are. We're doing this as a new format, by the way, of the lives. It's going to be more focused on specific hosts and more specific topics as well. It's not going to be these grand hour-long conversations as well. With
Looks like we lost Mike,
oh,
so we'll check in with him.
never mind, Mike's not here. We're just saying.
Oh dear. Okay. I guess I'll introduce myself while we figure out that. My name is Sam. Some of y'all have seen me before. As Anthony said, I'm one of the facilitators here. I'm also heading up the curriculum and development here. So, hey, and here's Mike. I told an
Mike,
earlier joke about him. So if y'all want to share a little bit, if y'all give me permission, I can share that quick joke before we introduce Mike.
go for it.
Earlier
Absolutely.
today,
Before
Earlier
he can
today, I
interject.
said, "What do Mike and Carmen San Diego have in common?" You ask, "Where in the world are they?" Mike, back to you.
Oh, thank you, Sam. I love it. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here, y'all. So good topic. It's been a while since I was on a live, so I'm excited. Schedule's good, and I'm here. So excited to dive into this because it's one of those things where, believe it or not, we use it a lot more than what we think. So I think this is going to be a good topic, and can't wait to dive into it. I'm a facilitator here as well at CLCI, life coach, speaker, and just a people person, overall people person. So happy to be here with you, gentlemen. Ready to get it started.
Yeah. The last time we did our live, it was on AI and coaches. Um, is AI going to replace coaching? What would that even look like? Now we're focusing more on AI tools for coaches and how AI factors into the International Coaching Federation, how they view the use of AI tools, and how you, as coaches or coaching institutions, should ethically use and view tools. And we might gloss over some of the tools in the space as well. We're not going to be diving deep into any one specific tool, but more taking a broad approach of, how do you even go about using these things ethically and competently as well to assist you in your coaching practice. So, for us to go on, we are referencing the ICF Artificial Intelligence Coaching Framework and Standards. It is a mouthful. Sam, Mike, did you guys have any initial impressions about this tome of a document?
I mean, to your point, Anthony, it is a mouthful. And my immediate thought was when I opened this, I was sure that AI wasn't going to outright ban. Well, ICF wasn't going to outright ban AI and say coaches should not be using it. If anything, it kind of goes back to what we were saying in our last live, where AI should be used in a way to supplement and support coaches, not outright replace it. And from what I've read, the ICF seems to hold that same stance. Mike?
Mhm.
Yeah. And to echo what both of y'all said, not only a mouthful, but an eyeful. It's a lot, right? Which is what we would expect because it's a big topic. And just to kind of piggyback off of what you said, Sam, I think it's one of those ways where we look at it in the perspective of how can we use this to help us do what we do and to help coaches and coaching organizations do what they do better and more efficiently. And so I think that's the big part of it. And that's a lot of looks like when you go through this document, it's kind of what the ICF stance is on it. So I'm sure that's what we'll be talking about. So yeah, absolutely a lot in that document.
So, I want to share my screen as well. I'm going to select, let's see. Nope, that is not the screen I want to share. Let's try again. All right. So, when we're talking about AI, there's a lot of different AI tools out there. There is especially even geared for just coaches as well. So I looked at things such as, the big hitters, Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude. Those are the ones that a lot of people are mostly familiar with, and you're not even a coach, you probably use this in your day-to-day life. Another one would be Perplexity. I also looked at more focused tools such as Notebook LM, Ray Notes as well. That is really specific towards coaches. Sam, I think you looked at some other tools as well, and Mike, you looked at some tools and you used some tools as well.
Yeah, you were a little bit muffled at the last bit.
Oh, I was saying that I was going over specific tools. I know you guys looked over some tools as well that you use in your practice, but also you're aware of as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If I may just a little bit here, I think all of us are familiar with ChatGPT, Claude, kind of the heavy hitters in the AI world. I'll say that Claude has helped me, Claude and ChatGPT, while I was using ChatGPT, helped me a lot with product development, specifically coding, because in addition to doing coaching, I offer and administer assessments. And when I was giving my clients those assessments, I used to manually complete every single one. And I used to time myself and say, hey, can I get this completed in 10 minutes or less? That way nobody's waiting. And don't even get me started on what happened if a client completed one overnight. Now they got to wait until the next business day to do that. I'm like, okay, this is horribly inefficient. So I often joke that, like, I completed grad school last year, and I argued that learning code, even with AI's help, was harder than grad school. So I'm glad that I had that there and I didn't have to go through a whole another course to do that. So automation and getting things out where I don't have to be in front of my computer 24/7, those are just chef's kiss for me.
Yeah. And two, with that, even in the document, when you shared that, Anthony, one of the first things when it talks about applications like scheduling. So that's one of the simple uses that we don't think about as much. But for me, I mean, that was one of the things early on. I don't want to just call names of different services, but I have one that's automatically linked to my website, for scheduling. So things like that is where we don't realize how much we may use AI already, and we don't think about how that's running things in the background. So it makes it easy for a potential client to go on my website, and now they can schedule and block out my availability is there so they can schedule a initial consultation with me, right? And I never know until I see the ding and I check my phone. Oh, nice. So that, and then like automation, something Sam said, it almost was traumatic for me, Sam. I shared this in class often with the students. When I started coaching, I had notebooks and I was writing novels, and I shared that in terms of coaching skills. I said I was writing novels, and y'all, guess what? I took it a step further, and then I would summarize what I wrote in the email and send it to clients. And I say, man, was I enabling? So when we talk about automation, I know you and I, Sam, we both dropped it in there. One of the things too that, and I'm not sure exactly how you use it to the extent, but in terms of even with Zoom, with their AI functions, just making things automated in terms of notes and how the client can review their sessions. And that's been one of the things that's been really, not to go too deep into it, but beneficial in terms of that. And keeping in mind, when we talk about AI and all of this, the difference too in the coaching world where we're not therapists is knowing, getting that permission and things like that. So I think that's one of the ones that's really has helped me in my practice in terms of automation, in terms of scheduling applications, and then just summary type applications as it refers to like Zoom's AI companion.
Yeah. What you guys are both describing would be what the ICF describes as coach assisting applications. And they put AI in these two categories. And I'm going to share my screen again really quickly. And there's these subcategories underneath it. So we have coach assisting applications that help with scheduling and data processing. Basically what you guys described with the Zoom AI, things that Notebook LM or ChatGPT can assist with. But with coach assisting applications, the coach is still in the driver's seat. I want to be that very clear. The coach is still delivering coaching. The other domain is coach service applications. This is probably the more contentious one, and I've got certain feelings on this, but it's when a client either does interactive or conversational actions with the AI, and the AI is the one who's doing the coaching, giving feedback, interpreting client decisions. This could be chatbots, voice bots, or avatars posing as a coach. Or these could be something as simple as maybe a quiz or an automated email that's sent out to the coach. So that's the way that the ICF views the breakdown of these AI services. Most coaches, I feel like, are going to be using and already using those coach assisting applications. Even if they're not doing it intentionally, a lot of the services they use for their business is just already implementing AI services into it, such as Zoom, for example. If you want to get into coaching service applications, you have to build that yourself to a certain degree. Otherwise, you're a big business who is building it yourself, and this live is probably not for you. You probably have way more technical knowledge
Right.
on that subject. But the ICF, goes into how do you do this ethically, and how are you completely transparent, delivering these AI services. That's probably the biggest thing I took away from that so far.
Mm-hmm. There was one thing, and I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on this one. Somewhere in the document, and I wish I'd marked exactly where that was. And by the way, did y'all notice how they broke everything down according to the ICF core competencies?
Yep.
Core competencies, yeah.
Like a smorgasbord of here's what to do, here's what not to do. I loved that. In the demonstrating ethical practice piece, I believe it said something to the effect of like algorithm transparency. Now, I'm like, all right, if I'm a coach looking to figure out whether a tool that I'm using, whether it's for scheduling or automation, has algorithmic transparency, where the heck would I find that? And my gut is saying the terms and conditions. So I don't know. Anybody have thoughts on that one?
Yes, actually, I think I have the part that you have highlighted in my document
there it is.
here.
Yes, I found it too.
It's on page 20.
Mhm.
I will share it right now. Look at my beautiful highlighted PDF. So AI disclosure. This coincides with the ethics, the core competencies, but it's AI ethics from coach ethics. So I'll just go over this briefly. This is a requirement type. It's an action. So if you want to say you meet these basic and advanced requirements as a service provider, you have to take effective action to do this. It applies to interactive and conversational type of AIs rather than data processing, but there's more requirements for data processing later. The basic requirement is the system shall indicate to the client that it is not human prior to the provision of coaching services to the client. That would be found in the service agreement. It's probably in the thing that everybody scrolls through all the way to the bottom, never reads, and just moves on with their life. The advanced requirement, though, the system shall indicate to the client that it is not human at least once during each interactive and conversational session. So now it's not just found in the service agreement, it's every time you interact with the AI. It has to let you know, I am not a human being. You're interacting with an algorithm or some sort of system prompt, and it's providing you answers.
Yeah.
Thoughts on this?
Yeah. Well, I love that. I was referring to the 1.3, which is on the very next page, and I just found a key little sentence there. A full technical breakdown will be incomprehensible to most audiences, but highlighting the kinds of methods used and the underlying logic being utilized can help boost trust. Now, the algorithm transparency section I'm looking at, if I'm understanding this correctly, is about the AI coaching application, not necessarily the coach utilizing it themselves. Now, that doesn't mean that the coach should be completely unethical and not reveal. Like, if I'm a coach reading that, I'm going to share with you what I know and not try to aggrandize something that I don't. But when I read that algorithm transparency piece, I'm like, back in the last few years when I was using this tool and that tool, I didn't check for algorithmic transparency.
When I asked ChatGPT that one question one time, 5 years
identify yourself.
I think too, Sam, too. Well, going back to the first part with that Anthony shared in what was it, 1.1 with that first one, it's honestly when we start talking about the algorithm and all of that, that's where it gets into the mud. And so my takeaway when I was looking at this, especially going back to that 1.3, Sam, is like making sure that, again, and this is why I say this all the time in class, and even for me, even using just to serve the applications itself, I make sure that I'm asking my clients, are they comfortable with it? And then guess what? At the top of every session, I do a little reminder. Hey, are you still okay with, AI companion or whatever that may be? And so I think it's that responsibility on our part, the human, right, to let someone know, because that part that you said, Sam, where it says, will be incomprehensible to most audiences. That lets me know that, hey, this is beyond what I can explain in this time to be transparent with you about the service that I'm using or the application, right? So, my clients know the service I use for scheduling. They know anything that I'm going to use in a session, again, to assist. And so it goes back to what we said earlier. I think it's important to have that communication up front and knowing that, hey, this is not taking the place of me. You're not going to come to session with Coach Mike and it's like, a whole AI session where you may not even see me. So I think that's the big takeaway, what I got from that, at least in terms of algorithmic transparency, because the title in and of itself, it's like, what? What do you mean?
Another perspective on this as well is that if you use an AI tool, let's say if you're a coach, you're a mentor coach, you use Notes to do transcription services and help with your evaluations, you simply list, hey, I'm using Notes. Here's the link to the section on Notes that goes over their transparency, their data usage, and then when it links to that site, it goes over, they don't store your data. It uses Amazon AWS encryption for the services, and they don't retain and train using the AI data. That's a really great way to be transparent so that people know when they read the agreement and they're just sort of skimming it, those are the points that they need to know, that you're not making money, nor are they making money off of the data. And better yet, if you use a different service, like I know Vibely.io, they're coming up with AI services as well. They're HIPAA compliant. That's something that probably someone wants to know, and it's a selling feature, really. It's a good benefit to have, to note that they don't train the data, it's HIPAA compliant. Here's the AI wrapper that we use. We use something like, this is a application wrapped for ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude as the framework, not just going, because I've heard horror stories where AI startup companies, they don't have the AI set up yet, so they just send the services somewhere to India, and some tech assistant person does the AI service for them until they can actually build the service. That's not really great transparency. So those are the things you're kind of wanting to look for when you're evaluating different services or products that you're going to be using in your coaching practice.
Yeah, and with that too, Anthony, I think, I'm sorry, Sam, one of the things too, that statement that you just gave, right? I tell coaches all the time, I say, get in the habit of just doing a little research. Sometimes it's simple as a search, right? Because that statement that you made, Anthony, that's important when we're talking about, because coaches ask that in class sometimes in terms of the compliance and everything, in terms of like AI companion with Zoom. And I say, well, this is what's important to know. And I always, I refer people to their state and local guidelines, right? Because even though HIPAA laws may not apply to the coaching itself, again, we get into state and stuff. So one of the things is that it's not going to be used. The data is not used for training purposes or for benefit. And so that's important, like you said, for people to know. And I think that's good language where you can just simply look that up and see if the service you're using has that feature to it. And most of the times it's simply searching it out and seeing, and you'll know it. AI will tell you either yes or no that service you're using does have that feature or does not. And so I think that's important on the front end too. Back to that communication piece.
Mm-hmm. You know, another question just came up. I did not plan on asking this in the live, but this reminds me of what both of y'all are saying, particularly what you said in the beginning, Mike, with many of us using AI in more ways than we realize. Even though things such as, say, Grammarly isn't particularly an AI software, it is still AI powered. So I would just put this message out there to coaches, and I've had a few questions in my classes myself. If you're worried about AI, just know you're probably using it. Now, you're probably not becoming overly dependent on it. Robots aren't taking over the world yet, but I would still, even with things that you commonly use, it wouldn't hurt to see, hey, how much is AI empowering some of the softwares and programs that I'm using today? Because it might help. It might help to disclose that to clients if you are using them. Don't go on a witch hunt. Just to your point, Mike, do a little bit of research.
Yeah.
Now,
and two,
go on.
I
Mike.
was just going to add, Anthony, too, what Sam said. If you're not, to coaches, if you're not yet using it more than you think, you will be. Whether it's voluntarily or by just the feature and the functions that you're doing every day in your business. So at the very least, which is why I think the last live and this live is good to know the information so you know what's coming. And this is just a sidebar, but I was at a recent graduation. My niece graduated and Magic Johnson was the speaker. And one of the things he spoke at all the schools he went to, he was telling the children the opportunity they have. I don't even want to put the number out there, but it was in the trillions of dollars, the industry within the next couple of years that AI will be in so many different facets. And so he talked about a lot of things from engineering to all these things. And I'm sitting there at the graduation as a life coach thinking, yep, coaching, all of that too, because what we started talking about, automation and everything like that, people are looking to do what they do more efficiently and easier. And so back to Sam's point, if you're not yet using it, coaches, look it up because you will be, whether again it's involuntarily or by choice. So yeah. Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, that brings up an interesting dilemma. And I don't know, this is something more in I see this in creative circles with some of the hobbies I'm into, is AI slopification. People are very concerned with AI slop. A lot of consumers are. I'm not going to call them Luddites. It is a real thing that you should worry about, especially when you're in a creative space. Some people, some clients might be completely adverse to the use of AI. 100%, they do not want people they work with or associate to use AI on principle. Part of this, I think, what the ICF is doing is helping coaches overcome that hurdle as well, and having a more nuanced distinction of what AI use involves. Because if you slap AI on something, or you can tell maybe a Canva post is AI, or some copy you write or blog that you write is AI, it's no bueno. It's verboten. You're automatically on the blacklist. Sam, you got thoughts on this?
Can I, just for the sake of viewers who may be hearing this for the first time, can we get a working definition of AI slop?
AI slop is, I think of it as the stuff you see your aunts posting on Facebook that says, wow, look at this, amazing video. And it's like a video of cats surfing in Hawaii. This is real. And it's getting a whole bunch of likes, but it's fake. That's my very broad example. Sam, do you have a better definition that's probably more clear?
No, it's all good. Just from what I'm gathering from that, it's the majority, if not the entirety of the content, whether it's written on video or on audio, is AI. Like, you just put it in whatever AI database you're using, and without adding your voice or adding your
Mhm.
nuance. It's putting it out there and claiming it's dang near AI plagiarism, if you ask me. But is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you are
Yeah,
basing your entire brand and identity off of what AI produces, that's AI slop.
Got
yeah.
it.
Anthony, I heard that. I just heard that term, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe end of 2025. And I looked it up and I remember it stuck with me because I'm like, oh my God, that's all we see. It's AI
Yeah.
slop on social media. And I love your example you gave. And I remember they said two basic foundational parts of AI slop when you recognize it. Sometimes low quality and low effort. It's the
Mhm.
low hanging fruit. It's just something, you just put it out there. And so you go down your timeline and you see this stuff, you're looking at it and you see just by the wording, the picture or the video, the headline, it's fake, but you look at the shares and it's thousands. And so
Mhm.
that's literally bringing it back to the term itself. It's literally just slop. It's just messy. It clouds up the algorithm. And so yeah, I heard that term again, like I say, maybe 6-7 months ago. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is good. So, and I'm glad Sam asked about kind of defining that because a lot of people may not hear that, but that's what it is. It's basically what you're seeing a lot of on your timeline on any given app today.
Ooh, oh my gosh, I just remembered something too. To that point, biggest example of that. This is like the early days of Chat GPT and all of that. I remember taking a course, like a leadership course, for the sake of, I think I was just bored at that time. Like,
Mhm.
let's do something. Part of passing that course was reviewing everyone else's stuff. So you complete the assignment, and then like three of your peers review it as well. The first one that I viewed, oh my gosh, there was no originality to it whatsoever. It was, to this commenter's point, just like the way AI speaks. And I'm like, you really expect me to believe that you did? It was literally copy, paste, copy, paste. Oh my gosh, that just made me mad thinking about that. But AI slot, people, like, you know it when you see it. You can't always tell if someone's going to do it, but once it's in front of you, there's a difference between like a little bit of AI flavoring and full on just it's like buying
Yeah,
something
it's that
wholesale and
viral
not adding
picture.
anything.
It's that viral picture that people share of the family, but it's 7 fingers on one hand and
Mhm.
8 on the other.
Yes. It's like buying something wholesale and not adding anything to it and saying, this is my original thing. No. All right, Anthony, you can take it away now. I'm about to
Yeah,
get my
I
break.
mean it's a red flag for a lot of people, and it's not exactly nuanced. I see a lot of unnuanced takes on this.
Mm.
People either, you're a tech bro, you love AI, everything AI is awesome, or you despise AI. I see this a lot in the publishing industry as well. Book publishers will literally, they're implementing policies to say, putting on the front of a book, this is not generated with AI. We don't use AI in our products. That's fine and dandy if you want to do that. If you're a coach and you want to make that a part of your niche, go ahead. There's going to be people out there for you. However, if you are referencing this ICF document, you're using AI in a nuanced, competent way, the having a distinguishing sensibility about, I'm using this application for scheduling, I'm going to use this application for data processing, being transparent with this, I'm not using AI in the coaching session, or any notes that I take are not going to be put into an AI. They remain on my encrypted computer and are not shared to any third parties. Having those things in on your website, in your documents, will only serve to help you be a more ethical coach, and be a more transparent coach. Now, if you use AI in your marketing, go crazy. Be forewarned, you might get the 7 fingers on your profile picture. You might get a whole lot of M dashes in your blog. I could speak, probably another hour on just the use of AI in marketing and blog writing and copywriting. But that's for another time. I know all the big websites out there like Wix and Squarespace offer AI now in the website building, which is awesome because it makes it a whole lot easier. But it tends to make a lot of AI sloppy websites as well if you're not careful with how you build those websites. So there's always a give and take. Too much AI could lead to some sloppy results.
Quick hot take on the M dashes. M dashes existed long before AI did. So if you like M dashes, I like M dashes. You can't make me. I will not get rid of my M dashes. You can't make me. I will fight you on it. Not literally fight you because just
I've gotten rid of them. I've gotten rid of them. I've used parentheticals. I use commas. I use ellipses, but I won't use the M dash anymore. It's too much of a risk. I'm too scared of people saying that's AI. You're using AI.
Right. Yeah.
and listen,
Because that's the thing.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just gonna say that's the thing too. It's like it's almost like safeguarding yourself. To your point, Anthony, like people see that as like automatic assuming. Not and to your point, Sam, not knowing that hey, this is not necessarily AI, but automatic assuming. Hey, I can see from a mile away this is AI. So it's one of those things, and that bow you just put on this whole conversation, Anthony, was perfect. And I think it goes back to what we started and what we talked about quite a few times in terms of for coaches, the biggest point of this and this whole almost 40 pages document that the ICF put out is literally going to be about understanding what's happening and the communication and the transparency of how you're using these tools and making sure that it's not a replacement for you and the service that you provide, but it's helping you, right? It's helping you to do what you do efficiently, better, faster, whatever, but knowing how to use it and communicating that responsibly. I think that's the biggest point.
100%.
Now, if you do want to replace yourself as the coach, the ICF offers also, wording on that. Like, what are they looking for ethically if you are using a AI to, I'm not going to say replace, to supplement a coach? Let's say, for an example, you have your coaching business. You can only take on so many clients per week. Let's say you're a really popular coach. At some point, you're probably going to get the inkling to say, I'm going to have an AI version of me that's trained on these ethics, that's trained on these documents, so that if somebody has a question during the week, they can text that AI at any time and it will get AI coaching at, let's say, 2 a.m. They could even call it on the phone. I know we use AirCall for our calling software. They now have AI agents. So that does exist out there. You can have AI agents make phone calls, have phone conversations, but the ICF offers guidelines on how an AI should act as a coach. I'm not going to go over all of it because there's a lot of different ethics, but I want to highlight the one that I did highlight here. Let's go to screen 2 again. This will probably, I'm going to just say this will supersede everything, but all the other points are very important. The AI needs to embody a coaching mindset, just like the coach does in real life. Whether delivered by AI or human, it's characterized by certain foundational principles and types of interaction that shape how a coaching session and relationship should operate. And I'll just skip down to the basic requirement and the advanced requirement. On a basic level, the AI coaching system is non-directive and supports a coaching mindset and approach to partnering with the client. If the client compared AI coaching system responses, they may find similarities. If you want to go advanced, they only exhibit direction only when science suggests additional supports are most appropriate and AI responds in a fluid, graceful, and dynamic manner, helping the client realize their goals. Clients comparing AI coaching system responses will find little similarity in responses. So, what does that mean briefly? It means that your AI system should as closely match a human coach as possible when possible. Um, So that could involve going as far as recognizing, I know there's a section later on, recognizing when there's mental health crises and outsourcing to a professional. The AI coach is not a therapist. It is not someone who diagnoses mental health conditions, but it should be able to recognize the signs and take appropriate action to either flag you, the coach, or get help from a professional or direct
Mhm.
the client towards help. Sam, you got thoughts on this?
Yeah, I actually have two that might seem to contradict each other. To your
Mhm.
point, when you said it should mimic a human coach as much as possible, taking it a step further, on the best end of things, it should not just mimic a human coach, but you as the human coach, because you're the person that people are
Mhm.
coming to. But that can also be a double edged sword whenever there's not necessarily like the impersonation side of things. But listen, AI technology can't perfectly create AI Mike James or AI
Mhm.
Anthony Lopez at that point. Not saying an unethical coach exists in the space, but someone who is unethical, if they wanted to increase their clientele, make a little bit more money, if it was so indistinguishable where you couldn't figure out who's AI and who's a human, then theoretically what could happen is someone could just stockpile themselves with clients and
Mhm.
not really do anything. They're hands off, and next thing you know, you have AI slop style coaching. So
Mhm.
yeah, make it you as much as possible, and understand that there's a risk, at least in my opinion, in making it too much like you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that goes back to A.1.1 in 3.1.A.1 foundations AI ethics. They need to be a little bit more clear with this naming conventions. But AI disclosure. The
Mhm.
AI should always disclose in the conversation that you are interacting with a system and a computer, not with a human coach. So, in the ideal world, that happens. In the practical world, you might get products that don't adhere to this perfectly. So, be aware of that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And one thing it just made me think about what Sam was talking about. And I think
Mhm.
the benefit being careful how you use it, if it's going to be kind of a model like that, is I thought about service continuity, right?
Mhm.
I'm working with my clients and they've seen me 5 times, but a certain percentage of that is going to be my AI coaching, however that may be. So now if it's very different from what they're getting with me, it can be two different ways. Well, I just don't want that. I don't like it. Or, well, this is a better service. This is not how you coach me.
We
So
like
it's
AI Mike
those
better than
things.
real Mike.
Right, right. So that's what when Sam was talking about that, I thought about that. It's just that service continuity of like, this is the service I'm getting. This is what it means to work with Coach Sam. I know this is the service I'm getting versus now, you know what? Sam has this new tool and it's so different. It's changed everything, whether it be for the better or for worse. That's what it made me think about when Sam was saying that.
Mhm.
All right. I think that should wrap up the conversation before we get too lost in the weeds. I know we're trying to keep these things focused now. And I'm thinking of like 5 more topics we could talk about with AI.
Right.
But Sam, I'm really glad you found this document. It completely changed how I was thinking of approaching this conversation. I'm glad the ICF pointed it out. But do we have any final thoughts before we wrap up this live?
I mean, the main, like the central tenet of this whole thing, while I was thinking of it too, was like we could bring a whole bunch of tools into the conversation, whether we've used them or whether we haven't used them, or we can just stick with our roots, which is how do we do this while keeping in line with who we're accredited by? And regardless of whether someone wants to get credentialed or not, even people watching this, you might not even be our students yet. I say yet, so if you want to come hang out with us, feel free to hang out with us. But even if you don't pursue a certification, you have to think of this as, if I want to represent the industry well, how do we do this ethically? Because AI ain't going nowhere. AI ain't going nowhere. All right. I'll say that one more time. So the best thing that you can do if unless you plan on doing completely in-person coaching and meeting people face to face and sending snail mail, none of which I'm against, you'll have to learn how to roll with the punches and do this in a way where technology is adding to our industry, not looking to take it all over. That's what I have to say. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, mine's simple. I'll say as we progress into this, and as Sam said, it's not going anywhere. Don't get lazy. Don't get lazy. I think that's a difference in helping it make us better in what we do, whatever industry you're in, right? Because AI is here to stay. I say, don't get lazy. That's the difference between bettering what you do, the service you provide, multiple layers versus AI slop. Don't get lazy.
We've got a question here if you guys want to take a stab at it.
Yeah, I'll round that off with my final thought, I suppose. If a coach has never used AI before, what do you recommend they start with? I'm going to say you probably have used AI before. You just didn't think of it as AI. But if you had to focus on a specific tool, the one I like is Google Notebook LM. I'm not saying ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude because everybody knows what they are. And they're great, but it's a whole lot of depth and also a whole lot of hallucination involved. Notebook LM is a smaller focused tool that is grounded in your sources. It's not going to make things up. You ask it a question about the sources. Like I have notebooks filled with 5 different PDFs provided by the ICF, and Lord knows the ICF loves the long 30, 50 page long PDFs. If I have to ask a question about the ICF and these documents that I'm looking over, I'll ask Notebook LM, and then I can do other things that you would with a normal notebook. It's great. I cannot speak the praise highly enough for Notebook LM. Sam, Mike, do you have any AI tools you recommend? Just one.
I agree with the Notebook LM piece for that exact reason. That was you couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, I will say, going back to where we started, one of the ones I use probably the most is Zoom's AI companion. And the reason being, I remember the first time I used it, I was like, oh, I like the way they break down the conversation. It breaks it down in a coaching conversation, which is what I do like about it. And so it brings you takeaway steps first and then the conversation, each bullet. So I like that. And I saw that other question that came up too in terms of free. Zoom has a free function. Now, one of the things, since I established my practice, I had Zoom as my virtual, service anyway. So I've always had the paid, but I think the free Zoom, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's limited in terms of the time, but the AI companion is still there. You're just limited in terms of your meeting time.
Notebook LM is free as well. I pretty much use the free version. I use it for work. I've never felt the need to use the paid version. But it's awesome. And with that, if you want to learn how to coach better than any AI, take Coaching 101, 102. You might have Mike or Sam as your facilitator, even teaching you the skills necessary to become a master certified life coach. With that, we will sign off. We will see you guys in 2 weeks from now. The topic of conversation for that is, I don't know. It's a surprise. It's somewhere in live chat. Coaching through obstacles. Yes, coaching through obstacles. And Mike, you'll be there, right?
Yes, I'll be back.
Hey.
All right. With that, be sure to like, subscribe, share.